Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide of the Speed Queen Lyssandra, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so Lyssandra is in the High Elves, and then the legendary in the middle here, Spirit Affinity Support Champion, Lyssandra. Now, as always, for my champion guides, I will have an infographic down below in a pinned comment that you can pull up and see the masteries that I'm using in the video, and then also kind of the general just book requirements, grades that I have, and just a general layout of the champion. But I do like to make note that you do not want to blindly copy masteries, but these masteries should be mostly generally useful for Lyssandra. But we'll get into all the stuff on that graphic as we do the video, so let's put that away and dive into the base stat. All right, so Lyssandra, she's got a pretty decent base HP of basically 21.5. The attack rating does not matter. Her damage does scale with attack, but you're not going to be building her as a damage dealer. She's going to be a speed booster support. We've got a base defense of 1178. That's all right. Base speed of 110 is pretty good, which is fair because she is a speed booster, so she's going to need a good base speed. And the 110 definitely qualifies as a really good base speed. Crit rate, crit damage, not really going to be focusing on that again. She's not a nuker, not a massive damage dealer. Base resistance of 30 is nice, and the base accuracy of 10 is a nice little boost because she does actually need some accuracy to land some of the stuff here on her kit that we will get into. So let's get started on the A1. It's going to be attack one enemy, transfer all debuffs from this champion to the target. Now, that can be pretty impactful, but it's going to be hard to get consistent value out of, especially if you're using auto battle. We got the A2 here, attack one enemy and fully deplete the target's turn meters. So that can be very strong. Most notably, probably in the Fire Knight. Lyssandra is a very popular choice in the Fire Knight dungeon, and that ability is super handy to making sure the Fire Knight never gets a turn. That's one situation where you'll see it come up a lot. And then Lyssandra is mainly known for this A3, the Energize. This is one of the best, if not the best, speed manipulation abilities in the game. It's going to be places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's already great. Fill the turn meter of all allies by 30%, and then decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 30%, and you can book that to a 4-turn cooldown. An amazing ability for the arena and basically any area of the game. Now, you will need accuracy to make sure you're landing the decreased turn meter effect. So if they've got a good resistance and you build your Lyssandra with only speed and no accuracy, she's probably not going to be landing that decreased turn meter very often because it will get resisted. And she also has an amazing speed aura of increased ally speed in all battles by 24%. This aura got even better recently with the release of the Doom Tower, because now you can use Lyssandra as a leader in the Doom Tower and get a really good speed aura for your whole team, and then also have the amazing kit here to help you snowball a lot more turns than the opponents you are going up against. So now let's head on over to the Lyssandra that I've got built on my account. We will talk about the gearing, booking, and masteries. Alrighty, so here is my Lyssandra, and you will see the 3 speed sets right there. You're going to be wanting to build her as a speed queen, just getting the speed as high as possible. That is the #1 priority. Now, when you get a little bit more endgame and you can start min-maxing things, that's when you can start trying to get some accuracy and maybe getting your HP and her defense to be decent. But the main priority is getting as much speed as possible. So let's pull up the total stats if you would like to see my Lyssandra build and maybe compare it to the one that you've got built. 57k HP with, again, the attack. You're not really worried about it. You're not going to be stacking attack on Lyssandra, so that number doesn't really matter. 3205 defense, 335 speed. The crit rate, the crit damage, not really a big deal. The resistance of 159, and then the accuracy of 328, which is usually enough to land that turn meter reduction in most situations, unless you're facing like a high resistance arena team or up at the very top tiers of the Doom Tower. So I would like to get that accuracy up a little bit, but I don't want to do it at the cost of speed. So you can see the speed of 335 was the main priority. Now, if you're going to be up into Platinum Arena or something, you're going to want to get that up to like 360, 370. There's some people out there with some crazy speed boosters that are getting up there around like 380 and stuff. I'm in Gold 4, so 335 does perfectly fine, and it's also amazing in dungeons and the Doom Tower. And I believe the theoretical fastest possible speed that you can get of Lyssandra is somewhere around 420. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure somebody knows the exact number, but I believe it's somewhere around 420. Now, realistically, the fastest Lyssandras you're going to see are probably going to be like 380 something. That would involve insane gear. And just to give you an idea of most of the Lyssandras you'll see running around in like the Gold 4, context of the game are probably going to be somewhere between 300 and 340. So now let's transition over to the gearing process. We will start with the banner. So, okay, like I said, the main priority is getting speed. You can see here the double speed roll plus the 8. Ideally, you would get one with a triple speed roll or even a quad speed roll, but it's going to take a lot of time to farm up a full set of 3 and 4 speed rolled stuff. But mainly on the banner, focus on that speed. If you can get accuracy or something relevant to your build, besides that, that's great, but focus on that speed. On the amulet, we cannot get any speed, so we're looking for lots of defense, lots of HP, and then some accuracy and resistance to boot. On the substats, the ring, you're just going to be getting as much toughness as you can. You're not really worried about attack. You want to get a ton of HP and a ton of defense on your ring. Then for the boots, you're always going to want speed on her. She is a speed queen, so your best 6-star speed boots is what you're going to want her to be wearing. Now you'll see here that these are a fat rip, hitting the flat defense 3 times, but I can't get any more speed in these boots. They are 6-star, 45 speed on the boot slot with an accuracy roll and some defense to boot, so they will be just fine. Then we've got the chest here. We're looking for, again, ideally HP or defense as the main stat there. Then as much speed, accuracy, and toughness that you can get on the substats. Same story with gloves, defense or HP with as much speed, accuracy, and toughness. Then the top ones, you already know the drill. We're looking for as much speed and toughness that we can get, along with accuracy is going to help us to land those debuffs, but I will show you my shield, helm, and weapon just in case you were curious on the ones that I am using. And like you see on this weapon, I've got the 16 plus 4. Now, I could spend a glyphs to get like 6, 7, even 8 speed on some pieces like this, but 6-star speed glyphs are so rare that I don't really want to spend it on a piece like this. I want to wait until I get a 6-star legendary that hits speed 3 or 4 times, and then that's where I'm going to spend my 6-star speed glyphs. I have not gotten those pieces on my account yet. They are so tough. You'll see that's why some of the players that are way up in the higher tiers of the arena will buy up those speed packs whenever Plarium is selling them, because they're trying to get those triple roll and quad roll speed pieces that they can really slam those 6-star glyphs into. The 6-star glyphs are very tough to come by. I think I've only gotten like 35 or 40 of them ever on my account, and I've been endgame Faction Wars basically since Faction Wars came out. So you really got to be pretty judicious in how you spend those 6-star speed glyphs. I would recommend only doing it on pieces that are 6-star and have at least the triple speed roll on them, and probably be either the speed set or the divine speed set ideally. So let's dive on over to the skills and talk about the booking process. Okay, so for Lyssandra, you definitely want to get her A3 booked. She's worth investing in. She's an amazing champion, and getting the cooldowns on this energized ability is amazing for her. So you definitely want to spend books one at a time until you get those. I say one at a time because there is an opportunity to save some books here if you get some decent RNG. Now the A2 here is pretty good. You're also going to want to get the cooldown on this one as well as the A3. So get the cooldowns on the A2 and the A3. Then, as you can see here, I was able to save 2 books because I'm not worried about the damage on her A1. So she takes 10 books to fully max out. I spent 8 on mine. You can see the 2 books on the A1 plus the 4 on the A2 is 6, and then plus the 2 on the A3 is 8 books total that I spent, and then I saved the 2 books on the A1. But don't feel bad if you don't end up getting good RNG. She's worth the books, an incredible champion, and you won't regret spending the books on her. She is someone that you will get a lot of value throughout your time of playing Raid. Then let's dive into the Masteries, and okay, there's a few different ways to do the Masteries here. This should be mostly relevant in most situations. I will pull up the Veil Cloak in case you want to see. I took the War Master just because it helps a lot with like dungeons and the speed of your dungeon runs. I use her for my Fire Knight team, and it can help me with those War Master procs. You could make an argument now that Doom Tower's out, or even to help you out in the arena, that you could go like Eagle Eye to help you with making sure you're landing the turn meter reduction a little bit more often and depleting the turn meter on the A2 and stuff. Not a bad choice. You would have to take a mastery that you don't get a whole lot of value out of. She doesn't place debuffs, so you're not going to get any value out of Master Hexer. And then the Sniper, she's also not going to get any value out of. So you'd have to take something kind of worthless to get Eagle Eye, but the Masteries over here aren't a massive deal on her either. You could go down the defense tree and try to take some toughness stuff as well, because the offense tree admittedly is not a huge value on her. So again, like I said, that's why you never blindly copy masteries. There's a few different ways that you can do the masteries for Lyssandra. You're definitely going to want to go through and read them and build her according to how you are using her mainly on your account. I built mine this way because I was mainly worried about her functionality in some of my dungeon teams, making them as fast as possible. And then this build also performs pretty well in the Doom Tower. So now let's head into the arena and talk a little bit about Lyssandra, because she is amazing in the arena. Now, if you don't have an Arbiter or something with a better arena speed aura than Lyssandra, you can use her for the 24% speed aura in the arena. And also, not many people do this, but you can build Lyssandra as your fastest champion. You don't have to build, even if you're using Arbiter and Lyssandra or something, you don't have to build Arbiter as the fastest champion. You can actually get a lot of value on your account by making Lyssandra your fastest champion. There's nothing wrong with having Lyssandra go first in a speed team, because remember, as long as she gets the accuracy to proc that decreased turn meter, it makes it even more likely that you can fill in the gap with your next booster that, in this case, Arbiter also boosts attack to make my nuke go even harder. So that's why I use the two different boosters. I have a dedicated video with Deadwood Jedi that I will try to remember to link over there for you, where we talk about the reason that you would use two turn meter boosters, in this case using Lyssandra and Arbiter, just to make sure they can't cut in. If you use too big of a gap between, like, let's say I have Lyssandra at 335 speed, and then my next champion is at like 220, that gap is going to leave a window where if I barely win the speed battle against my opponent, they can slide into that window, and then if they have less gaps, they can fill in and then actually take their rotation before my whole team goes. So you got to be a little bit careful about that, but I've got that whole dedicated video with Deadwood, and he has a great tool for helping you calculate how big your gap should be and how to actually set up your speed team effectively. But yeah, in terms of a speed metal farming team in the arena, that's how I set mine up. Lyssandra as my fastest champion, and then Arbiter to come in and boost my attack, and then fill in the gap of the speeds of my champions, and also for her amazing 30% ally speed in the arena. And then Venus is my decreased defense and my weaken, and then Trunda is my nuker in the Savage set that is designed to hit super hard. So then when you're looking for a team that you would want to farm medals up against, when you're scrolling through the opponent's page, you're looking for somebody that you think you can win the speed battle against ideally, because you don't want to waste your arena fights. You want to be getting max value. You want to be winning as often as you possibly can. So you're looking for a team that you think you're going to go first against. So you want to check a few things. You want to check the speed aura. You want to check, do they have a turn meter booster? Are they liable to have a big gap in the turn meter boost that you can cut in? Maybe even if you lose, you've got a small chance to clutch it out and win, because you can fill in that gap and cut their team. So in this situation, unless their apothecary has crazy speed, I know I'm going to win this, because they've got a pretty comparable speed aura, and I have faith, given the power that I see here and kind of the layout of the champions, that I know I'm going to go first and I'm going to nuke them down, and this won't be a problem. So it's an example of a battle that you can go into knowing you're going to farm medals successfully. And then after this, I will show you the list, and we'll talk about kind of the teams that I'm thinking about going up against when I'm going through the arena. Okay, so we got that. And then if I scroll through here, so here is somebody without a speed aura that doesn't have a crazy booster or anything. So I know this team is drawing dead. I know I have no chance of losing this fight. I can go through and successfully farm my medals by just hitting auto, the rotation, the boost, debuff, and attack. We drop it down, and we keep right on rolling. So then we go back to the page. Now, in a team like this, I'd have to be a little bit careful of Skull Crowns. They can do some crazy things, like live with the unkillable. Then you have to dive in and manual with the Arbiter, try to remove it, or manual with someone you have, or set up a specific thing, like using someone like Ugo to defense break and block buffs is a great choice for a team like this. I could swap in Ugo instead of my Venus. I'll go ahead and just show you that. So if I was going up against a Skull Crown, I would go ahead, take out the Venus, sort by rank. We can slide in Ugo here. Scroll down. I'm actually still working on mine. Ugo is a new champion, but I should have her built pretty effectively to go into this team here. So a simple swap like that to deal with like Skull Crowns on the page would guarantee you that it's going to be a super easy fight just like that. So that's kind of the thought process in my head when I'm going through and farming the arena with my Lyssandra speed nuke team. And then I also want to touch on the Doom Tower real quick, because I think Lyssandra is incredible in the Doom Tower. This is kind of my general progression team, where I've got Lyssandra for the speed aura and the turn meter suppression, speed boosting, turn meter boosting of my team. Lydia, amazing. She blocks revives, does crazy debuffs. Just an amazing champion for the Doom Tower. Torment and Ignatius pair together to do a bunch of CC. With the Torment stuns, I have him in a stun set with the AoE A1 and all the stuff that he brings to the table with freezes and all sorts of CC. And then Ignatius with the irresistible HP burns to pair with the Torment. And then Ignatius also does lots of provoking. And then Syl is there just to keep the sustain up. I've got her in a relentless set, so she can crank out the heals, keep my team up, and then also do more CC of stunning the enemy. So this is kind of the general progression team that I use in lots of the floors of the Doom Tower. This is level 81 on hard, I think. So kind of like that mid to upper tier of the Doom Tower on hard, and this is the general team that I would use kind of built around my Lyssandra for helping progress through the Doom Tower. So you can see all the crazy debuffs coming down, and then when I get down to about usually about 2 champions left with a little bit of health, that's when I will switch it off auto and then start hitting them with A1s so that I can get my cooldowns ready for the next wave. Then when the next wave starts, I hit auto, they get the rotation up and running, and they usually keep them so CC'd that they really don't do anything. And until you get to the way upper tiers of the Doom Tower, which I would show, but I'm not there yet on this iteration of the Doom Tower. This is pretty close to the tip top of where I'm at right now. But once you do get up in some of those higher tiers, you're going to have to start kind of min-maxing a little bit and changing things around and like manualing the whole fight, because those later stages get super tough. But now you can see this is where I start just kind of manually doing my A1s so I can make sure and have things on cooldown before we head into the next wave. And then boom, we can go ahead and auto start the rotation. There you see the Lyssandra doing the turn meter suppression and the boosting of the allies, and then we get all of the debuffs and the CC coming in on the waves. And we'll do the same thing when we get down to two or three champions left, or just like slivers of health, pop it off auto, start spamming A1s, and get ready for the next wave. All right, and now we're at the point where I would start spamming A1s, and I like to target people that don't currently have like a CC right there. They all kind of have CC. This team keeps them pretty locked down, but that's how I would do it in a perfect world, is try to target people and get some extra stuff to proc, but it wasn't really needed here. We're able to cycle through, reset stuff, and then hit auto again here on the last wave. To get the rotation fresh, like I said, where Lyssandra can start us off with the speed suppression, turn meter suppression, while boosting up the allies. Lydia gets us kicked off with the defense break, the weaken, and then we get the CC and the proper rotation rolling. Now this time, I don't really need to take it off of auto and start spamming A1s, because obviously there's no wave after this, so they can just kind of do their thing. But yeah, that's just an example of my general progression Doom Tower team that I use that is built around the anchor of Lyssandra in there as the speed booster and the speed aura. And I'll also show you the Fire Knight team, because she is incredible in the Fire Knight. Her kit is basically designed to be amazing in the Fire Knight. She's even Spirit Affinity, which is strong against the Force Affinity level 20 of the Fire Knight. So Lyssandra, basically a perfectly designed champion for the Fire Knight. The only thing she's missing is having like a triple hit A1, and then she would just be even better than she is. But still amazing regardless in the Fire Knight. And this team will probably be pretty quick, about a minute 25 or so, I think is my Fire Knight's average clear time. The Cold Heart change recently, where they kind of helped out her AI against the Fire Knight shield, was definitely a welcome change for all of us that have a Cold Heart in our Fire Knight team. So here we go. We get to the boss in about 30 seconds here with the Lyssandra-centric team. We've got Draco slamming abilities into the shield. There we go. Now we break it. And now is where we can really shine. There you see the Lyssandra doing the A2, where we fully deplete the turn meter. Such a huge ability in a fight like the Fire Knight here. And boom. Okay, so I haven't paid attention to the time of my Fire Knight team in a while where I actually actively look at it. I expected it to be about a minute 20, but we were sub 1 minute with the Lyssandra-centric team. Now let's head on in and get Lyssandra graded in the different areas of the game. Okay, so Arena, she is amazing. Obviously gonna be a 5. Spider, I didn't touch on the Spider all that much in the dungeon section, but yeah, she can do a lot of cool stuff in the Spider. Obviously the speed aura to help you crank out more turns. She also suppresses the turn meter of the Spider, so yeah, you could do a lot of cool teams in the Spider's Den with her. Now against the Dragon, the Dragon 20 is going to be strong affinity to her because it's magic. But, I mean, she's still fine. She's a good support in terms of cranking out. She'd be like a 4.5 probably. She's such a good champion that'll help in the waves. I will give her a 5. One thing you do want to take note of is you can't affect the dragon's turn meter. So I guess with 2 of her abilities doing turn meter, and especially the A2 is going to be worthless because it's not going to deplete the turn meter of the dragon. I'm going to give her a 4, but she's still viable in the dragon. It's not like she's bad or anything. Obviously, Fire Knight is a 5. Clan Boss. This is an area of the game where I don't see her being super amazing at. Like I said, you can't deplete the turn meter of the Clan Boss or anything. And the A3 won't reduce it by the 30% or whatever. So not going to bring a ton of value. You could probably do some cool things with like a super speed team in terms of cranking stuff out. So I'll give her like a 3. But the Clan Boss is probably like her worst area in the game. Minotaur, she's fine. In a lot of these general dungeons, she'll be fine. She's not great as like an XP farmer, but in terms of 3-starring content, she could probably do some fun things in the campaign. We'll go 3 there. And then in all of these keeps, she's just a really good general support. And with the all battle speed aura, just, yeah. In all these areas, you can give her a 5. And she's also amazing in Faction Wars for the High Elves. So, yeah, you can see that Lyssandra is obviously a very good champion. All right, so in conclusion, let's go ahead and pull up the infographic here as we are talking. And again, that'll be down in a pinned comment, nice and easy to find. But yeah, Lyssandra, I probably should have done a guide on Lyssandra a lot sooner, but I definitely wanted to get one out there because she is so amazing and such a great champion in so many different areas of the game. Definitely one of the better champions that Plarium designed. She looks cool. She's got cool base stats. She's got a kit that synergizes with what she does. She's got a great aura. She's great in multiple different areas of the game. The trade-off is that she's not super meta in like the Clan Boss. So yeah, perfectly designed champion in my opinion. She's amazing, S tier. And if you get her, you're going to want to invest in her. Don't feel bad about spending books on her. And don't feel bad about getting her in your best speed gear because she provides an insane amount of value if you get her built properly and going super fast. So I would love to know what you think down in the comments about Lyssandra. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.